Welcome into T4G Sports. In today's video, we're going to be giving you guys our top 6 Big Ten quarterbacks after week 1. This list is meant to change throughout the year, so try to not take it personally. We do not play favorites, okay? We do this collectively as a company. We don't give a devil's taint where they play their ball, okay? We'd rather be right than wrong just because you think, oh, we don't like this team or we like this team, whatever. Doesn't matter. We do not care, okay? So we're not going to play favorites to any stretch of the imagination. And no, we don't just play video games and don't know how to scout. If you guys have followed our channel, we flat out were one of the only ones coming out and saying that C.J. Stroud was the best quarterback coming into the draft. And we were saying it before the draft happened. We were just saying it over and over and over and disagreed with everybody saying that Bryce Young was better than him. Not a shot to us. And we have the receipts to prove it if you guys want to watch those videos. And so we're not just, pretty face guys with good jaw lines and who are athletically gifted. No, we also like to scout. It's fun, okay? I have a lot of fun scouting outside of playing the video game. So hopefully you guys like this list. You guys already know. Hit that like button, subscribe, click the notification bell. Don't just play the game, own the game. Let's light it up. Coming in at number 6, this one, I would never have predicted that he'd be number 6 on my list right now, and that'd be Dillon Gabriel. He's a 92 overall in college football 25. Fantastic quarterback. He was a great quarterback at Oklahoma. They ended up beating Texas. The guy can throw the ball all over the place. I mean, he can throw the ball all over the place. In week 1, his processing just looked slow. The game plan that Oregon came in with was just atrocious because it worked in the beginning. It was like, let's just throw the ball quickly to our playmakers and just get down the field. Get down the field, our playmakers will beat them. And at first it was working. It looked like Oregon was going to just blow them out of the water. You thought, oh, God, they're going to have like 1,000,000 yards. Like, they're going to blow them out of the water. And then it didn't happen. And Dillon Gabriel gets sacked, 3 times in the first half alone? Bo Nix was sacked 5 times in the entire season last year. So you really saw Bo Nix's talent because Bo Nix could get the ball out quickly, really quick, and when the wide receivers were covered, he was gone. That dude was scrambling, either making plays with his legs or keeping the play alive and finding a guy open when they would break free, and that's what made Oregon so dangerous. And you didn't see that same thing with Dillon Gabriel and that coaching staff where they had that same kind of trust in Dillon Gabriel as they did Bo Nix. And it was hard to watch. It really was. And I worry, what if you're doing that against Idaho, what would a really good defense do against you? Like USC's defense even. Well, and it's shocking to even say that, but what would they do against you? What about Ohio State, Penn State? You would have taken a loss if you played any of those teams week 1. And so it's good that you didn't. And I think Dillon Gabriel should pop up on this list much higher. I mean, Dillon Gabriel is an NFL standard quarterback, in my opinion. He's a very good quarterback, but you got to do more as an entire team and as a quarterback than what you did in week 1 against Idaho Vandals. It was not acceptable. So he's making it at number 6 on our list right now. I fully expect him to jump up higher than that because that's not what you should be seeing from a team like Oregon right now. At number 5, we got Drew Aller. Okay, I think Drew Aller is a great quarterback for Penn State. Fantastic. He fits them perfectly. He's an 88 overall in college football 25. His stats passing wise were not like out of this world. He was just effective. He was 11 for 17, 216 yards, 12.7 per average, 3 tutties, no interceptions. Rushing wise, he had 6 carries, 44 yards for 7.3 yards per carry. And he had no rushing touchdowns, but that's exactly what Penn State needs out of him to dominate another team. Is like, just be effective. We don't need you to save the day. We just need you to be effective. We need you to be effective on third downs, be effective in the red zone, and to run when you need to run. And that's it. The rest of it, hand the ball off to our star running back behind our great offensive line, and then let our defense do the rest. That's how we win games at Penn State. And that's what we need you to do. And that's exactly what Drew Aller did, to a T. So I was impressed with his ability just to do exactly what they needed from him. And on top of which, the guy is a general. And he demands respect from his own players because even when he's going around the outside and he's got to get a first down with his legs and it's all up to him, a linebacker meets him, gets a great angle on him, good read. He stiff arms a linebacker right to the ground. This guy's no small dude. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. Stiff arms the guy right to the ground, mows over him, gets the first down right in front of his sidelines. The entire sidelines are going berserk. You just watched your quarterback do that to a linebacker. You think they have faith in this guy? You think they're going to play hard for this guy? Hell yeah, they are. So that's what you see from Drew Aller, is a guy who his players are going to play hard for him because they know he's playing hard. And that's huge to see from your quarterback when you got like a Josh Allen back there who can just mow through dudes. He needs to work on his deep accuracy and his timing, because his timing's off on that, and he needs to do a little bit better with that. He should have had a touchdown. He should have had 4 touchdowns by just doing a little bit, being a little bit more effective with some of his throws. But I can't fault him, really. I mean, it was a good first week for him, and that's why he made it at number 5. So coming in at number 4, we got our boy Will Howard here. Let's pop over to the College Football 25. You got an 85 overall. No one had faith in this guy whatsoever. I think you could even put him at number 3. I really do. Because the difference was, the reason why I think 3 and 4 are tied, and I'll kind of give him a 3 and 4 spot, is because everyone said that Howard was Kyle McCord 2.0. He's Kyle McCord. You wasted your money. He's not even that good. And then he comes out and he's throwing dimes the entire game. In fact, he was only 17 for 28, 228 yards, 3 tutties, 8.1 yards per average. Nothing spectacular when you looked at it. You were like, okay, I mean, it was a good game, but it was against a team like Akron. I mean, Akron's a good team in consideration of their conference, but let's not pretend like they're this team that's out there like crushing Big Ten teams. It's not going to happen, right? Akron's a good team, but not that good. We got to be reasonable with that. But everyone chalked him up as like, you're garbage, basically. You're not good. And Ohio State was just picking whoever they could pick. And then he comes out. He's throwing passes, and the wide receivers are dropping it. Jeremiah Smith drops one that hit him right in the hands. The number 1 wide receiver in the country coming out last year, high school, hits him right in the hands. He drops the ball. What happens? Will Howard goes, hey, don't worry about it, guys. Don't worry about it. I'm going to keep being consistent. And he picked up the team. The team relied on him. With Kyle McCord last year, the entire offense was built around Marvin Harrison Jr. It was all to get the ball to Marvin Harrison, their Ferrari. That was it. And that's because Kyle McCord was not like a C.J. Stroud, nothing close to a C.J. Stroud, where C.J. Stroud was just reading the entire field. He was just like, you get open, I'll get you the ball. Even if you're not open, I'll throw you open. And then you go to Kyle McCord, and it was just like, okay, let's just do this, and then Marv will be open, throw Marv the ball, and then that's it. Just do that. And that was the entire offense, right? What does Will Howard do? No, he comes in and he's a leader. He's like, don't worry, you dropped the pass. Now I'm going to keep diming it. Almost every pass he threw was on the money. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. He did exactly what Ohio State needed him to do. He was a leader for that team, and it was impressive. And I can tell you right now, defenses that are enemies of Ohio State or playing Ohio State or even may play Ohio State in the future in the playoff, if they get to the playoff, which more than likely they will, they're not looking at Will Howard as a Kyle McCord. I could tell you that right now. The people on the internet may be looking at that, but the coaches are sure in the hell not looking at that. I know I wouldn't be. I would not be looking at a 6'4", 240-pound man who can clock out at 22 miles an hour and is much more accurate than what people were giving him credit for, at least in week 1. I wouldn't be looking at that guy and going, oh, man, I can't wait to play him with those wide receivers in that running game, which the O-line needs to do better. There's no doubt at Ohio State you got to do better. But Will Howard, marvelous performance, sir, and you did it with a smile on your face. Great guy, and it was awesome to see. So congratulations to Will Howard for going out there and shutting up the critics, at least for week 1. Good work, man. So at number 3, I had to give it to the young buck, just ever so slightly above Will Howard. The reason for that, for me to give him the number 3 over Will Howard did great. Okay, he did fantastic. But Dylan Raiola changed the program. He literally changed the program. For Ohio State, it's hard to go and change that program because there's just so much elite talent. If you're just slightly effective, Ohio State wins a shitload of football games. For Nebraska, you need to be pretty effective. Okay, you need to be a big game changer to change Nebraska's, because Nebraska loses against CU last year, and it was abysmal because their quarterback, you were worried, can he just hold on to the snap? for the love of God, can you just not fumble the snap? That's it. Can you just do step one of quarterbacking? And he couldn't. He struggled like hell just holding on. Then years before that, Nebraska loses. They lost almost every game by like 6 points. They were the best losing team out there. They were the scariest team because they'd keep it within 6 points and then they'd lose. And it was just like, man, what can anything go well for Nebraska? They bring on Matt Rule. Dylan Raiola transfers to like every high school in America. He commits to Ohio State, decommits, goes to Georgia, decommits, and then goes to Nebraska, where I think his uncle coaches there. Turns around, plays this game, and he's only an 80 overall freshman, which is amazing, even in college football 25. You're not going to come across those guys very often. 19 completions, 27 attempts. It's not like his stats were out of this world. 238 yards, 2 tutties, but it was a brand new Nebraska. He changed everything from Nebraska even in week 1. It was like watching a entirely new team where it's like, wow, you guys can actually pass. It's like Minnesota, Wisconsin, some of these teams where it's like you can't pass to save your life. You just run the ball all the time. And then you see Nebraska, they were one of those teams. Now that they get Dylan Raiola, it's just like, oh, we can go all over the field. We could throw the ball deep. We could do all sorts of things. It opens up their playbook. It opens up the possibilities for Nebraska. They could score on any team out there. Dylan Raiola flat out put on a show in his freshman debut, and I was incredibly impressed. If this kid continues, they're going to land more recruits. They're going to be a very scary team to play, and they're just going to be a competitor regardless of who they play. So good luck to CU with stopping this man, because it is not going to be easy to stop Dylan Raiola. This dude, he can ball. Coming in at number 2, this is going to be a shock to a lot of you guys. It's Hudson Card from, he was a transfer from Texas. This guy is an 82 overall redshirt senior, and flat out, the guy balled. He was 24 for 25. Okay, 24 for 25, 273 yards, 4 tutties. Okay, it was against Indiana State. I get it. Not a great team. But if you watch his performance, it was clean. It was so freaking clean. There's things he needs to work on. But Purdue, whether it's Aiden O'Connell, they had Drew Brees at one point. They have had good quarterbacks come through their system. They are a passing attack team. They're very good at passing the ball. They're good even in Big Ten standards of passing the ball. They will score on teams like Ohio State. They've scored. That's what Purdue does. Purdue is a scary team to play because they can ruin your chances like they've done with Iowa, like they've done with Michigan, they've done with Penn State, they've done with Ohio State. They've done this to teams before. Purdue, they did it to Tennessee not even that long ago when they played Tennessee in a bowl game where Tennessee had all that talent, the talent that beat Alabama. Purdue beats them in a bowl game. And they scored it was 50-something points on Tennessee. I mean, it was just outrageous. It was so many points. And so Hudson Card, after his week 1 performance, we easily had to throw him up in the top 2. It was just like, my God, that was an impressive showing from him. Now, whether he keeps that number 2 spot, that's going to be the question, because obviously he's not playing on Penn State. He's not playing on Michigan. He's not playing on Ohio State. He's not playing on those teams. If he was playing on Michigan or playing on those teams, my Lord, I mean, this is a guy that a lot of people should have probably went and got because he can run. He's effective with his legs when he needs to be. He's effective with throwing, obviously, 24 for 25. I mean, that is just outrageous. That's an outrageous game. So, very impressive. I had to put him at the number 2 spot. I was very, very impressed with this kid's performance. So, Hudson Card, great job after week 1, man. That was fantastic. Coming in at number 1, I had to give it to him, Miller Moss. What a performance. 85 overall, redshirt junior. He waited his turn. The guy balled out. He was so cool, calm, and collected. When they would zoom up to him, you couldn't tell if it was practice or if he was in a game. He's playing against LSU. He waited his turn. He was behind Caleb Williams. He was behind Dart, who ends up darting to Ole Miss, pun intended. He gets his opportunity. No one thought USC was going to win that game, myself included. I just didn't think it was going to happen. I thought their defense was just not going to be able to do much because Lincoln Riley just has not been able to do much with the defense. But I'm so impressed with Lincoln Riley's strategy on that, to where he said we can't change our players, who our players are, but we can change the makeup of our players, and they gain like a total of 1,400 pounds. That's ridiculous. I mean, what a genius thing to do going into the Big Ten. And we all knew, Big Ten people, SEC people, everyone knew. It was only the people who didn't know who were saying like, well, the West Coast speed thing, that wasn't going to work in the Big Ten, just being West Coast speed. You needed a bigger offensive line and defensive line. Like, that's just the way it is. There's a reason most of the guys in the trenches come from the Big Ten and the SEC. And there's a reason the SEC and the Big Ten win most of the championships, because they're the biggest and they're the strongest. Like, that's just the way it is. They'll bully you around. And they're also incredibly fast as well. So just having speed is not going to work in the Big Ten. Lincoln Riley knew that. And he bulks up the entire team. Like, they got huge. Okay, so that was genius. Absolutely genius. To top it off, Miller Moss is just like so collected. I mean, he's making NFL decisions. The guy jumps off sides. He hikes the ball. It's a free play. He just dimes that piece right in the bucket. And it was just like, wow, that was like Aaron Rodgers. It was like watching Aaron Rodgers. His decision-making, his calmness throughout the entire process was just like, don't worry, guys. I mean, he was 27 completions for 36 attempts, 378 yards. He almost got as many yards as not even that far off. It was like 4 yards off of Dylan Gabriel, and he threw far less than Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, he only got 1 TD, but it didn't matter because it was like he did exactly what his team asked from him. You could tell the wide receivers were making insane catches, by the way, too. Insane catches. It was a team effort, but they could rely on Miller Moss. Absolutely rely on him, and he easily makes the #1 spot. Clear right now, going into week 2, he is the #1 quarterback going into week 2. We'll see if he can keep that ranking next week. We'll see what he can do. He's going to be tested to a degree. I mean, it's Utah State, but we want to see that same clean process. But great job playing LSU. That was the biggest opponent of all these guys, and he balled out. Absolutely balled out.